Before the universe exploded into being, there was pure stillness. What if that same principle holds the key to your personal creation? This video explores a powerful, often overlooked truth that by embracing inner quietude, you don't just find peace, you tap into a limitless source of energy and potential that can transform your entire reality. All right, family, let's get into it. You know how your phone's always buzzing? Notifications, group chats, the endless scroll, and your brain feels just like that, right? A total spam folder of thoughts, worries, and that one song from TikTok you can't shake. So let me ask you a real question. What if you could find that mute button? Not just for a minute, but for real. I'm talking about hitting that place of absolute, total quiet, the big chill before the universe even got started. The ultimate Zen mode. This ain't about adding another thing to your to-do list. This is about tapping into the mainframe, the infinite Wi-Fi of all that is, or and ever could be. It's about that stillness before creation. Now the wild part is, you're already plugged in. You've just forgotten the password. So, if you're ready to remember, to access that limitless potential that's your actual birthright, then you gotta ask yourself one thing. What becomes possible when you finally get out of your own way and let the silence do the talking? Well, so that's it. The biggest flex isn't your job, your car, or your followers. It's sitting in that sacred stillness, knowing you're tapped into the source of it all. That's where the real magic goes down. The journey's just beginning. If this hit home for you, if you felt that spark of awe for real, then do me a solid. Smash that like button, drop a comment with the number 0, symbolizing that pure, limitless void before anything begins, and subscribe so we can keep unpacking this incredible journey together. Peace and infinite blessings, of course. Here is the expansion of your first keynote, continuing directly from the flow of the introduction. Hey, what becomes possible when you finally get out of your own way and let the silence do the talking? Let's get straight to the first real talk of the day. The noise is a lie. Now I know what you're thinking. Come on, the noise feels pretty real. The anxiety about that bill, the drama with that coworker, the endless mental rerun of that awkward thing I said 5 years ago, that all feels super real. And I hear you. It feels real because you're giving it your power. You're feeding it with your attention. But just because something is loud doesn't make it true. Think of it like this. Your mind, your ego, is like a hyperactive commentator at a sports game. The actual game, the players, the ball, the court, that's the reality, the stillness, the infinite potential. But this commentator never shuts up. Oh, look at that missed shot! Terrible! What if they lose? Remember that other game they lost? I bet they're going to lose again. And by the way, you need to worry about what you're doing after the game. The commentator isn't the game. It's just a voice offering a running, and often completely inaccurate, commentaries on the game. We get so sucked into listening to the commentator's panic and predictions that we forget to actually watch the game happening right in front of us. That's what the noise in your head is. It's a commentator stuck in the past or freaking out about a future that doesn't even exist. It's all based on memory, on old data, on conditioned responses. It has no access to the fresh, new, infinite creative potential of this very moment. It can only recycle the past and project it forward as fear. So when that voice says, "You're not enough," or "This will never work," it's not stating a fact. It's just replaying an old, broken record. It's a lie because it's not connected to the truth of your being, which is one with the divine source, where all things are possible. So how do you deal with the lie? You don't fight it. You don't argue with the commentator. If you try to shout it down, you just add more noise to the stadium. The power move, the real spiritual practice, is to simply notice the voice. Acknowledge it. There's the commentator again, telling its scary stories. And then, gently, without any struggle, you return your attention to the game itself. You shift your focus from the chatter in the stands to the profound silence at the center of the court. You sink into the space between your thoughts. That space isn't empty. It's full. It's the actual reality. It's the stillness before creation. In that space, the lie of the noise has no power because it has nothing to latch onto. It's like a shadow in a room that's suddenly flooded with light. The shadow disappears. The light of your conscious awareness, focused on the present moment, dissolves the lie. It doesn't mean the noise will never come back. That commentator has been on the air for a long time. But it does mean you stop believing its broadcast is the only channel on the TV. You learn to change the channel back to the eternal, silent, and infinitely creative now. Oh, you learn to change the channel back to the eternal, silent, and infinitely creative now. And when you finally manage to tune into that station, when the static of your own mind fades into the background, you stumble upon the most liberating, the most game-changing realization of all. This brings us to our second point: you ain't building, you're channeling. This one right here flips the entire script on its head. Our entire lives, we've been fed this narrative of the grind, the hustle. We're told we have to build our lives brick by exhausting brick. We have to build our career, build our relationships, build our security. And let me tell you, that mindset is a one-way ticket to Burnout City. It's like you're trying to single-handedly power a major city with a hamster wheel in your basement. You're running, sweating, and barely keeping the lights on in your own kitchen. You're operating from a place of lack, from this idea that you don't have enough, you aren't enough, and so you must manufacture everything from your own limited strength and your own limited ideas. But what if I told you that's a total scam? What if your real job isn't to be the architect sweating over the blueprints, but to be the conduit? Think of yourself not as the source of the water, but as the pipe. Your only job is to stay clean, stay open, and stay aligned so that the infinite, creative, intelligent water of life can just flow through you. You don't have to create the water. The water already is. It was here long before you showed up, and it'll be here long after. Your struggle, your feeling of being overwhelmed and exhausted, comes from the ego's desperate attempt to be the source, to take credit for the flow. When an artist is in the zone and a masterpiece pours out of them, did they build that painting? Or did they get their own technique, their own frantic thoughts, out of the way and allow something through them? When a musician hits a solo that sends chills down the entire crowd's spine, are they consciously thinking about every single note? Or have they surrendered to the music itself, becoming a vessel for a melody that seems to come from somewhere else? That's channeling. It's a state of receptive allowing. It's what happens when you stop trying to push the river and instead you learn to float with the current. This is the secret the mystics have always talked about. Not my will, but thy will be done. That's not a statement of weakness or submission. It's the ultimate statement of power. It's you declaring, I am relinquishing the exhausting, futile effort of trying to manufacture my life from my small, limited self, and I am instead aligning myself with the infinite, creative potential of the universe. You stop asking, what can I make happen? And you start asking, what wants to happen through me? Your life stops being a tense, white-knuckled solo performance and becomes a jazz improvisation with the divine. You show up with your instrument, your skills, your body, your presence, and you play along with the music that is already playing. The pressure is off. You are not the composer of the symphony, you are a musician in the grand orchestra, listening for the cue of the silent conductor, and playing your part with joy and trust. Oh, you are not the composer of the symphony, you are a musician in the grand orchestra, listening for the cue of the silent conductor, and playing your part with joy and trust. And this brings us to a truth so profound, so radically simple, that the mind, in its complexity, almost always overlooks it. This is our third key: the kingdom is already lit. Now, I know what that sounds like. You look around at the chaos of your life, the mess of the world, and you think, lit? This is a dumpster fire. My bank account ain't lit. My love life might not be lit. The news sure as hell ain't lit. And I get it. But I'm not talking about the surface-level drama. I'm not talking about the circumstances that the commentator in your head is obsessing over. I'm pointing you to something far deeper, far more stable. I'm talking about the foundational reality of your being. This isn't some destination you arrive at after years of struggle. This isn't a prize you win for being a good spiritual soldier. This is the ground of your being right here, right now, in this very breath. The kingdom, that state of perfect peace, wholeness, and infinite potential, is not a physical place you enter. It's a level of awareness you awaken to. It's the fundamental reality that was there before the noise started, and it will be there after the noise quietens down. You are swimming in it, but you've been so focused on the waves and the turbulence that you forgot you were in the ocean. Think of it like the sun on a cloudy day. The clouds roll in. Thick, dark, and stormy. They block your view completely. From where you're standing, it seems grey and gloomy. You might even forget the sun exists. But you know, on a logical level, that the sun hasn't gone anywhere. It's still shining brilliant and full, just above the cloud layer. The problem isn't the absence of the sun. The problem is the presence of the clouds. Your spiritual work is not to build the sun or to beg for it to come back. Your work is to rise above the cloud layer of your own thoughts, fears, and judgments. Your feelings of lack, of incompletion, of being broken. Those are the clouds. They are temporary weather patterns in the atmosphere of your mind. They are not the fundamental truth of who you are. The fundamental truth is the sun constant, radiant and whole. You can spend your entire life trying to fix the weather, trying to rearrange the clouds, or you can learn to ascend to the altitude where the sky is always clear. This is why we seek the stillness. In the silence, the clouds of thought begin to part, and you get a glimpse, a feeling, a knowing of that ever-present radiance. You realize that what you've been seeking your whole life, that sense of peace, of home, of unconditional love, wasn't something you needed to find. It was the very thing you were looking from. You are the kingdom, and you are merely remembering yourself. The treasure isn't buried in some distant land. You are the treasure, and you've been standing on the map the entire time. You are the treasure, and you've been standing on the map the entire time. So, if that's the case, if the kingdom is already lit within us, and our job is to get out of the way and channel it, then the million-dollar question is, how? How do we actually do that in the middle of a crazy Tuesday when the car won't start and the kids are screaming? The answer, and our fourth key, is this: be a hollow bone. Now that might sound like some strange ancient proverb, but stick with me, because this is the most practical spiritual technology you will ever find. A hollow bone is exactly what it sounds like. It's a conduit. It has no agenda of its own. It doesn't try to alter what flows through it. It doesn't try to color it, shape it, or claim it as its own creation. Its only purpose, its entire reason for being, is to be open so that life force, spirit intelligence, whatever you want to call it, can pass through it unimpeded to do its work in the world. This is the ultimate state of surrender and the most powerful posture you can take. It's the difference between being a clogged, rusty pipe and a clean, wide-open channel. Your ego, your sense of a separate, struggling self, is what clogs the pipe. It's the sediment of past hurts, future anxieties, personal opinions, and a desperate need to control outcomes. When you come to your meditation, or to any situation in your life, with a head full of, "I want this, I'm afraid of that, and this is how it should be," you are not a hollow bone. You are a bone stuffed full of your own personal baggage, and nothing of a higher nature can get through. You're trying to channel the infinite through the tiny, distorted filter of your personal will, and then you wonder why you feel blocked, frustrated, and disconnected. To become a hollow bone is to consciously, deliberately, empty yourself. It's not about adding another spiritual technique to your repertoire, it's about subtraction. It's about letting go. In your meditation, you don't seek a specific experience. You simply release your grip on every thought, every desire, every fear as it arises. You offer it up, you say, "Here, take this too." You empty yourself of your plans, your need to be right, your story of being a victim, your identity as a success or a failure. You become like a clear glass, waiting to be filled. This is the pour in spirit that Jesus talked about. It's the state of being utterly empty of self, so that you can be completely full of spirit. This is where the magic happens. When you stop trying to direct the movie and instead become a clear lens for the light to shine through. The intelligence of the universe can operate in your life in ways your little mind could never engineer. Solutions to problems you've been wrestling with will appear as if from nowhere. You'll find the right words to say in a difficult conversation. You'll feel a current of energy that isn't your own anxious striving, but a calm, powerful, and intelligent force moving through you, guiding your actions, arranging circumstances on your behalf. You will know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you are not doing the work is being done through you. And all it required was for you to get yourself, your ego, your complicated baggage out of the way. And all it required was for you to get yourself, your ego, your complicated baggage out of the way. Now, this is where a lot of folks get tripped up. They hear all this talk about the kingdom within and becoming a hollow bone, and there's a subtle, almost invisible shift that happens. They start looking for this experience out there. They think, okay, once I get to the retreat, then I'll find that stillness. Or, when I finally get a new job, then I'll have the peace to really meditate. Maybe it's, if my partner would just change, then I could be a better channel. This is the ego's final, most clever trick, to externalize the source of the solution. And that brings us to our fifth, and perhaps most grounding, point. It's an inside job. Let's be brutally honest for a minute. We are conditioned from birth to look outside of ourselves for validation, for safety, for happiness. We're taught that the A+ on the test, the approval of our parents, the right car, or the perfect relationship, that these external things are the source of our fulfillment. And so, when we embark on a spiritual path, we often bring that same consumer mentality with us. We shop for the right guru, the perfect meditation cushion, the most powerful mantra, the transformative workshop in a tropical location. We're like a man standing in his own living room, which is filled with priceless treasure, but he's convinced the treasure is next door. So he spends his entire life trying to break down his neighbor's door, all the while standing ankle deep in his own gold. The peace you seek cannot be found in a circumstance. The wholeness you long for cannot be granted to you by another person. The stillness before creation is not a location you can GPS. It is the very core of your being. It is the you that exists before and after any thought, any emotion, any external event. When you make your inner state dependent on the outer world, you have given all your power away. You have become a puppet, and the world holds all the strings. A rainy day ruins your peace. A critical comment shatters your confidence. A fluctuating bank account determines your sense of security. This is a life of utter powerlessness, of being a leaf tossed in the storm of circumstances. The radical, what revolutionary act is to turn your attention completely inward, not in a narcissistic way, but in an investigative one. You must become a scientist of your own inner world. The moment you feel anxiety, instead of looking for what's causing it out there, you turn inward and ask, where is this feeling residing in my body? What is the thought behind it? You don't try to change the world to make the anxiety go away. You sit with the anxiety itself until it reveals its illusory nature. You realize that the world is just a screen and your mind is the projector. You can spend your life trying to adjust the screen, painting it, cleaning it, yelling at it, or you can finally turn around and work with the projector. When you change the film in the projector, the entire picture on the screen changes. When you connect with the stillness within, the chaos without begins to lose its power over you. It doesn't necessarily vanish, but it can no longer shake the unshakable foundation of your being. The storm might still be raging, but you have discovered the eye of the hurricane, and in the eye there is a perfect and profound calm. Of course, here is the expansion of your sixth keynote, continuing the flow. The storm might still be raging, but you have discovered the eye of the hurricane, and in the eye there is a perfect and profound calm. Now, living from this place, from this unshakable inner foundation, requires one final, critical piece of understanding. It's the glue that holds this entire practice together, and it's our sixth and final key. The universe has your back. I know. In a world of layoffs and breakups and bad news, that can sound like a naive, fluffy platitude. It can feel like spiritual bypassing, just slapping a happy sticker on a broken window. But I am not talking about a blind belief that nothing bad will ever happen. I'm not promising you a life of luxury and constant ease. That's the ego's version of safety, a guaranteed outcome where it remains in control. What I'm pointing to is something far more profound and unshakable than that. It's the lived, experiential knowing that the same infinite, intelligent consciousness that orchestrated the entire cosmos, from the spin of galaxies to the pulse of a single atom, is the very same consciousness that is animating you, right here, right now. It's not a force outside of you that you have to beg and plead with. It is you, at your most essential level, and this intelligence did not bring you this far to abandon you. It doesn't run out of goodness or creativity or solutions. Your trust isn't in a positive outcome. Your trust is in the fundamental, benevolent nature of the source itself. Think of a master weaver working at a giant, complex loom. You are a single thread in this magnificent tapestry. From your limited thread-level perspective, sometimes you get pulled down into the dark. Sometimes you're stretched tight. Sometimes the pattern makes no sense at all. It can feel chaotic, even painful. You might think, the weaver has forgotten me. I'm lost in this mess. But the weaver has the entire beautiful pattern in mind. Every single movement, every dip and rise, is intentional and necessary for the emergence of the whole glorious image. Your job as the thread is not to understand the pattern, but to trust the weaver. Your job is to be strong and willing to allow yourself to be woven, even when you can't see the beauty of what's being created. This is what it means to live in faith. Not a blind faith, but a faith earned in the laboratory of your own silence. It's the confidence that grows every time you surrender a problem into that stillness and watch as an unexpected solution arises. It's the peace that settles in when you stop trying to force a specific door open and instead notice the window that has been open the whole time. You begin to see the fingerprints of this benevolent intelligence everywhere, in the chance encounter that offers exactly what you needed, in the sudden intuition that saves you from a wrong turn, in the unexpected grace that appears in the middle of your deepest grief. You realize that the universe is not a cold, random machine. It is a responsive, co-creative field of infinite potential. And when you align with it, when you become that hollow bone for its intelligence, it moves with you and does for you. It's not that you get everything you want. It's that you are given everything you need to play your unique and irreplaceable part in the grand, unfolding story. You stop living as a fearful individual trying to control a hostile world, and you start living as a beloved and essential expression of the world's own creative impulse.